Just a little Hump Day Live. Got my Montana out here, so we'll see who's around. Always good for some fun here, so. There you go. Got my computer set up so I can. There you go. Audio test done. There you go. I'm even in the chat. So this is a live about nothing, as they usually are, and our talks usually fill the space so far that it ends up being longer than I want it to be. Hey, Millennial, how you doing? Never know who might show up in the middle of the day, people taking their break. I'm just going to get on here and say hello. I got an automatic timer back here for when I'm supposed to be done. That's the sun. It's going to come up over that woodshed. But anyhow, got my coffee out here, and I'm testing the internet because I have never been able to do a live that looked worth a darn. Just never had the signal. Couldn't use my phone really. The phone has pretty good signal. But the Wi-Fi was always too slow. So now that we got the low orbit connection here, hopefully now we can do a live that looks like you can actually see my face, which might not be a good idea. Yusuf, my brother, good evening. I think the video is much better. Quality, I mean. I've got my Montana out. This is a good pipe. This is a second-hand estate pipe, 9mm. I don't know anything about Montana pipes, not a thing. But the stem is so small up here that I added one of those softy bits to it. And man, I don't care for the softy bits because of the big ring on them. So you can see I put it on backwards so that the ring is away from my lips. I need to make custom ones. Nathan. Good morning, Nathan. And you can see it's a little bit chilly out here. I had to go find me a little bit of a coat, because if I'm going to sit still and drink coffee and talk to you all, then I'm going to need a coat. I think it's about 50 degrees now, maybe. Hey, here's a fun one for you. You know, everybody talking about lighters. I've never shown this lighter before, I don't think. I bought this a long time ago, and it's supposed to have a flip top, but I broke the hinge, or the little pin came out of the hinge. I could fix it easily. I just haven't because I don't use it. But check this out. This is a plasma lighter, and I thought that there was enough reach here to light a pipe. And there is when the pipe is full, but it's not practical because you can't reach far enough down in there. But rechargeable. You flip a switch. Blue light comes on, and I mean, it gets hot. Now, the thing about it is, 98 degrees. Oh, I'm sorry, Yusuf. I'm sorry. The funny thing about this lighter is when you charge it, it lasts forever. It probably go 2, 3, 4 months without another charge. It lasts forever. Be great for cigars or, you know, the little cigarillos, but you can't reach into your pipe. But the funny thing is, when I would turn this thing on and push the button so the plasma flame, you know, ignites, my daughter could hear that high pitched anywhere in the house. She could be upstairs and I could be downstairs and I could push the button and I'd hear, Dad! It was a great way to call her if I needed her to come downstairs. I just take out the plasma lighter, push the button, and wait. Dad! So it works pretty good as a remote control. Heading to 80 today, huh? Well, I don't think we'll get to 70. Oh, we are supposed to get to 70. We're supposed to make 70 degrees. You know, as fall comes in around here, we have cool nights. So it'll get down in the 40s at night and then back up into the high 60s and 70. We're probably done with our 80-degree weather. I don't see it coming back. Last year it snowed in October. Yeah, I lived most of my life where it would get into the hundreds and stay there for 3, 4 weeks at a time, and I don't ever want to see that again. So I'm with you, millennial. I remember one day in the shop. I used to work in heavy equipment maintenance. We had a metal building, and in the shop it was 114 in the shop. I would just, I would just, you know, that's time to grab your coffee and sit down. You know. And people make fun of me sitting there drinking hot coffee when it's 100 degrees, but I did. 110. Ooh, that's pretty warm to be headed into to summer. Goodness sakes. Hello, black dog. You're gonna have to go lay down before you knock everything over. I made it hard for you to get into the shot, didn't I? Yeah. Well, I was just catching up on some videos this morning. Man, I missed some good videos in the last 5 or 6 days. You guys find it hard to catch up with them once you get behind? My goodness. And there's so many new presenters and good presenters. I mean, I have a hard time catching up with all of them. You know, Yusuf, it seems like you guys were just going into winter, but I guess that's how fast our summer went by too, right? Goes by pretty fast. Time goes by quick when you're getting older. Yusuf, you must have magical powers to consume video. I have a hard time sitting still that long to watch them. Usually I'll grab a cup of coffee and a pipe and outside or something, and I'll watch a couple, two or three. And if they're 5 to 6 minute videos, I might catch a few more, but I do like the longer ones. Boy, Jess had a great Yabo the other day. I love that. The gnome Yabo. If you guys haven't caught that, that's Jess piping, and he did a great Yabo. It was fun. Long. It's a long video. Yeah, I work from home too. Home is my work. Uncle Mike. Oh man, 93 today? Uncle Mike. Man, oh man. That's pretty darn warm. Yeah, Nathan, my dad drank coffee all day and all evening, and that's just, I spent so much time with him, that's just the habit. And he used to say a nice hot cup of coffee made him feel cooler when it was hot. Maybe there's some physics to that, putting hot coffee in your body and you raise your temperature. There's probably something to that. But I drink coffee all day and into the evening. It doesn't matter how hot it is. I drink other stuff too. I like iced tea, but nothing like a hot cup of coffee when you're sitting down to relax. Well, see, there you go. My dad used to say that. He swore by it. I remember when I was still working in the shop there, and I had a 30 mile uh, trip to get home. And I was driving the Willys, and it's summertime, so it didn't have a top on it, just had a bikini cover top on the Willys. And I would get done, close up the shop, and the guy in the office would still be there. And I'd come out getting ready to get in the Jeep and go home, and I'd pour me the last of the hot coffee and zap it in the microwave if it wasn't hot enough, and I'd get that dude nice and hot and go out and start the Jeep and go home. And one day he asked me, he says, "How can you drink that stuff on the way home? You got no air conditioning in that thing. It's an open cab. It's 105." I said, "Oh, there's nothing like a hot cup of coffee to cool you off." I'm telling you, it's the truth. Got a little trout stream in my pipe here, so going slow. It's going to be a beautiful day here. Blue sky, no clouds. Yesterday it was cloudy and overcast all day. It'll probably make 72, I imagine. Smoke snacks. What'd you say? Don't let anybody tell you how hot it is. That way you won't know, right? Ignorance is bliss. Is that what it is? Uncle Mike. So you having some hop coffee? Is that what you're saying, Yusuf? You call it coffee hop? Is it the coffee hop or hop coffee? Just wondering. You cynical thing, you. Hop coffee. Well, well, we've made it halfway through the week, anyhow. I'm not so sure you would be hopping with the coffee unless you put a lid on it, because I'd have it all over the place. It's probably a learned skill to hop back with a cup if you don't have a lid. But anyhow, some of you guys that got on here late, you have to go back to the beginning of this video and check out what I was talking about, this plasma lighter, otherwise known as my daughter's remote. I don't know how she could hear that thing, but Millennial, I've got some trout stream in there. That's what's in there. So since I can overdo it sometimes with it in there, this is a Montana. I don't know if I showed it earlier, but I'll show it again. It's a, I don't know anything about these pipes. It says Montana and Italy. That's it. That's all it says. It was an estate pipe. It's got a 9mm charcoal filter in it, and a bass backwards softy bit. The stem is real small on it, and I don't do so well with the really small. Uh, I don't do small stems very well, so the softy bit is kind of helps balance it in my mouth. I don't like those little ridges on the softy bit though. I guess I could cut it off with a knife. So I put it on backwards to keep that ridge away from my lip. Yeah, trout stream seems to ebb and flow in its taste. Sometimes I'll get an order and it's really good, and then I'll get an order and it's like, it's a so-so. I don't know if it's the tobacco or the additives. The recipe doesn't come out right. And I'm not much of a connoisseur, so I can't tell you what the flavorings and all that are. But it's supposed to have a little bit of a caramel, just a distant hint of caramel or something, I think it is in it. And sometimes that's almost totally missing. And when it's when it's good and when it's right on, it's a crowd pleaser. I'll take trout stream in my pipe and go downtown, especially in the wintertime. I go for a walk and I'll walk around the street there when I'm uptown, and people will actually follow me around. I had a lady stalk me one night. She's like, "Sorry, I just was enjoying the pipe." Yeah, caramel and butterscotch makes sense, and one of those isn't very strong every now and then, and it's off. But boy, when it's on, it's good. But it is good. It is the room note is one of the best on it. But I should dry it more sometimes before I enjoy it. But I feel like drying it out too much gets rid of some of that flavor. So there's a happy medium in there somewhere where you try to not overdo it. But it seems like they're a little thin on their additives sometimes. I don't know. It's a definite crowd pleaser, that's for sure. I don't know about you guys, but I go downtown a lot. Not a lot. I don't like being uptown actually, but when I go downtown, I always take my pipe, and we have a kind of an old resorty type old town. It's an old town, and I love to take my pipe and smoke it as I walk. It's a big sidewalk in front of these old stores, and I've had one lady come out and ask me to kind of sit on the bench for a while. It's winter time, and could you just sit on the bench? She sells these old wooden, a lot of rustic type furniture, wood and products hand carved and things like that. She goes, "You just fit in out there. Just sit there and smoke your pipe." True story. It happened. Yeah, Uncle Mike, you were right. the the uh, the shelf life, even in a good tight jar of an arrow, is variable. Some of them probably do better than others, but since I have a lot of aromatics, um, shelving things for 4 or 5 years is not really feasible. They do lose flavor with time on the shelf. So it is kind of interesting, Yusuf, how you can be out in public and people are, that's a good word for it. They're fascinated by it because it's something that it's something that they have in their memory banks of, the days gone by, even younger crowd. It's something in their memory banks about simple times and good people and maybe they associate it with grandpas and stuff like that, but that's not the only people that comes to mind when you pick up a pipe. And rarely do I find anybody that is put off by it. I mean, in public, not, you know, not like I'm not going to go at your house and smoke in your house or anything like that, but outdoors, uptown, not smoking it in their face, but just kind of in their presence. It's a fascination for sure. I'm sure that's Garrett on their smokestacks, but hey, I'm gonna look into one of those little vacuum machines because I have a lot of jars that would fit on, and I have no doubt that pulling vacuum on that jar it would have to help some. I don't have one, but I've seen those things advertised, and I have other reasons to have one, and I think it would be a good. I think that would be a good purchase, not only for pipe tobacco, but for other things in mason jars. One rule: I don't get the ending, Yusuf, but hey, you have one that does both sizes. Well, send me an email or something so I can look that up because I have more than one size jar, and I would like to look into it because I think it would be good for other things. Some of the powdery stuff in your kitchen that you store. We store a lot of pantry stuff, not because we're preppers per se, but we live in the north, and it can snow 2 feet. In a bad storm, and you're not going to town for a few days. So we try to be prepared where that's no big deal. There he goes again. I only got, I don't have a leg to stand on. Yeah, I know that boiling water, you could do it like a canner, but I hate to get the tobacco that hot. So these new little machines they have just pulls a vacuum in a couple of minutes you're done. That seems like that would be great. I'm not going to can with it maybe, but I would use it on dry products. Yeah, I think getting aromatic hot enough to boil them shut would be a bad thing. John, I can't tell you how many times I have been uptown somewhere, uh, man, and I have my pipe going, and I usually choose a tobacco that I know is more pleasant if I'm going to be amongst people. I don't take something strong and peppery there, Latakia. I usually take my porch time mix or trout stream or something like that, and always have somebody come up to me. saying how much it triggers memories and how pleasant it is. There's my reminder coming right there at the top of the screen. That's my timer going off. There's that sun we were talking about. I told you all when I started this that I set a timer, and it's the sun coming up over that woodshed. And we're at 25 minutes. So there you have it. That was a pretty good timer. John, it's good to see you. I sometimes I can't keep track of all of the new viewers or people that just happen to pop in. So appreciate you being here if you're newer to the channel. Try to do a live now and then, but my lives have been terrible because of my internet. So from now on, they should be stable enough to be worthy of looking at because we just finally bit the bullet and went with Starlink. So I live in far too rural of an area to try to hodgepodge together other things. There is fiber optics coming to the area out here, but I don't know how far off that is, and so Yusuf, I have had people ask me if I smoke green in my pipes, and I'm like, no, no, I do not. Rural is the best, Mike. I I grew up in the country in a more ag area, and then I lived most of my adult life back in the city, and I tell you, I never enjoyed a single minute of it as far as the surroundings. I'm a country boy at heart, and as you can see from my videos, that's where I enjoy being is outside. One mound, there he is, caught up with us. I haven't forgotten your video request that you did. I had so many problems with internet. I don't think I could have uploaded much more video than I did. So if you got your email fixed, send me an email back and I might have something for you. It had to do with you training your kids how to drive a 3 on a tree. The man. Not so much. Man, I miss having a pipe show. We live in northern Idaho, and there just are no pipe shows even close to me. If I'm gonna go to one, I'm gonna have an airplane ticket. But someday, maybe next year, I've got it in the plans. I'd like to go to the Ohio one, and that way I can be there when some other people are there and get together and meet. To me, the most fun of a pipe show for me would be seeing other presenters there. But yeah, I see you had all that corn. One that your daughter was having a lot of fun with that. I enjoyed that little quick video. No, there aren't any pipe shows in South Africa, Yusuf. I'm shocked. Just have one at your house. You could call it. You could call it the peg leg pipe show. They have one in Spokane. How come I don't hear about that? Man, I tell you what, I'm always surprised about stuff that goes by that I don't hear anything about. It just ticks me off sometimes. You got the internet for all this information and all these billions of megabytes that go by, gigabytes, terabytes, and I don't hear about something that I'm really interested in. You let me know when that is, please. Hey Chip, thanks for checking in. I know people got to work, and I know I did do this during the daytime, and sometimes people jump in here on their breaks, and that's fine. Good to see you. I know Vegas, right? I could get to Vegas. I could drive to Vegas. It'd only take me like 10 hours, 12 hours, something like that. The Hop and Smoke Pipe Show. The Sutliff one would have been awesome because I do enjoy a lot of Sutliff brands, blends. So the Sutliff would have been a great one to make. I would have loved it. You can make it to Vegas in 6 hours. That used to be about my time where we used to live. It used to take me about 6 hours to Vegas. See you, Chip. Yeah, I've got to where I don't really enjoy traveling as much as I used to. I don't mind driving. That I've always enjoyed. I don't particularly like flying. I've only done it a handful of times. Millennial. That's why there's so many blends, right? It's why it's why it's nice that there are so many blends to choose from, and it's kind of a journey. You find out what you like, you find out what you don't like, you kind of meander around back and forth. It's one of the great things about the pipe journey is finding what you like, and I've tried some that other people just love, love, love. Back in the day, I talked about matches 860 the other day in a video, and we all know John loved haunted bookshop, so he was one of the ones that I was watching. And I had to buy some and try it out, so I did, and man, that stuff is it's strong for me, or it was then. So I jarred some up and I left it alone for a while, and I like it much better after it's been jarred for a year. If I put it in the cellar and cellar it for about a year, I think haunted bookshop is much better. But I haven't tried any in a while. I might break some haunted bookshop out. It's almost October, so for sure I will break some haunted bookshop out in a couple of weeks. I know I like having that face to face with the people that you order from. I miss the brick and mortar uh, store experience. I used to have a really nice cigar and tobacco shop where we lived, and you could go in and sit down. And we had one here in Post Falls. They had one, and they closed, and they've been trying to reopen for almost a year, and I don't even know if they're open yet. I haven't been down there, but it's a little bit like the old brick and mortar experience when you can actually meet them. Mike, every once in a while I find a new one, a one. I tried a Sutliff aromatic. It's aromatic English by Sutliff, and as a hybrid blend, that's a good one for me. I do like a little bit of English, and I find it's not an all day smoke for me, but for something different, I've been trying to get an English that I like, and I do like that one. I would agree with that on the Cornell and Deal stuff. Everything from Cornell and Deal that I've tried was better after it sat a while. Almost everything I've tried from Cornell and Deal, I don't like right out of the tin. Immediately open the tin, put it in a mason jar, seal it up, and leave it for at least 3 or 4 months. And then sometimes I'm surprised at how much better I enjoy them after I do that. But I don't know what it is about their process or their blends or their leaf, but I got to start looking for some Christmas blends. Every year I forget until it's too late and they're gone. We most pipe smokers. This is answering your question about what we keep them in. Most pipe smokers don't keep them in the original packaging unless it's still sealed. So they will cellar them in the original packaging if it's still sealed airtight. And some tins are better than others at being tight. So most of us, I would say, put them in a mason jar and seal them up in a mason jar so it's airtight. That's how we cellar them. Crumble cake number 5. See, all these blends, I haven't tried that many blends. I'm always afraid to buy something, 12 or $15 for a fancy tin. You get them on sale, and then I'll try those. Um, but I always try to buy, if I'm making a big order, I always try to buy one particular something new, something I haven't tried. And, about half of the time I do enjoy it. So it's a good way to try something new. I forget who it was. Who is it that always sends you a sample? Is it not Country Squire? Is it one of those online brick and mortars? They a lot of times they'll send you a sample with your order, and I appreciate that because it lets you try a small amount and say, hey, that's good. I'm gonna order some of that. They have got me to order more a couple times doing that. I haven't tried too many of the McBaron blends either. I did try Seven Seas something. I don't remember what it was. I have my tobacco journal in there somewhere. I keep track of most of them. Sometimes I forget, but and some of it I think has to do with aging. When I started 10 or 12 years ago, I wasn't smart enough to keep track and put them in and age them, and I just tried them right out of the tin. And some of them are not. Some of them are just not worthy right out of the tin. I have tried Sutliff's Christmas Spice. Now there's one, like we were talking about. There's one that loses its potency fast. I usually get enough that I enjoy it right then. I try to jar it up right away, but I have noticed like even after, I would say after 90 days jarred, it's not as good as it was when you ordered it. It loses its spice pretty fast, even jarred up. So some of those don't jar very well. They don't cellar very well. Yeah, it's especially disappointing when they discontinue a blend that you really enjoyed, and you were like, "Yes, I like that one. Please don't quit, don't quit." Captain Black Grape. There we go. Rose would be proud of you. Yeah. So next month it'll be haunted bookshop time, I guess. I'll have to get some back out, and then I'm gonna have to keep my. It's like the old eBay sniping. Remember when you were bidding on something on eBay, and you'd have to wait to the last 2 or 3 minutes, and you'd have your last bid ready to go, and then somebody would get you with 33 seconds left to go. That's how tobacco buying at Christmas time goes for me. Yeah, the tobaccos that come out with the heavy chemical taste can't do those. They have that aftertaste to them that just leaves me like that just ruined the whole thing for me. You got some kind of chemical in there, whatever it is, glycol, whatever it is, it just ruins it for me. That's the end of that bolt. Yep. But I have not tried that one, but it's been on my list to try the My Mixture 965. That is um oh man, I can't think of the manufacturer now. Peterson? Is that from Peterson? My Mixture 965. Now this is something that may or may not be worth smoking. This is some leftovers from a little mix this morning. Oh, it may be garbage. Yeah, Peterson. Yeah, the old Dunhill remixes. I tried I tried a Peterson blend. I forget. Oh, it was the Scottish blend because I am a great deal Scottish by birth, and it was one of those ones. I think I should have let it sit in a jar for a while, but I opened the tin up and I just kept trying and trying and trying until the tin was pretty much gone. Never did really enjoy it. But I think I should try it again. But My Mixture 965, that's been on my list for a long time. I can't remember what it is, but you too, John, huh? You like that one? I had to be real careful with the Latakia blends, and I know I've said it 100 times, but I'm super nicotine sensitive. So if they're medium nicotine or strong in nicotine, I can't hack it. I do have some mediums that I do like, but I have to make sure I'm well fed and sitting down. That's right. Got you some good barbecue going, and then a nice big meal, and sit down and enjoy it with a full tummy. Always a lot better. The other day we were talking. Well, this has been I don't know. When did I do a? I did a little video about Zippos, and I mentioned something about keeping a flint stuck in the bottom of the wadding, because you never quite know when your flint's going to give up. So always keep a spare in the bottom. And then somebody in the comments reminded me, well, that's why there's a little hole in the pad. You don't have to lift the wadding up. You just stick your extra flint in that little hole they provide for you. And I thought, well, I knew that. Why didn't I say that? And then so I put it in there. The next time I put one in there, I put it in the little hole. And about the second or third time I refilled my lighter after that, I raised the wadding up and it slipped out of my hand and that little flint went flying across the counter. I said, oh, that's why I don't use that little hole. Balkan Supreme. Hmm. Yeah, it was about a month ago. But that's why I put the flint underneath where you lift it up to fuel it. I put the flint underneath it and then I let it just lays there in between those two pieces of wadding. I don't use the little hole because sometimes when I lift that hole up and it slips out of my hand, the shock of that flips that flint out. And if you're outdoors, it's gone. You're never going to find it. So I put the flint underneath where the filling is. It doesn't hurt it to be down there. And I can always give it a little shake and it falls right out. And on we go. And that's why I don't use the little hole to stick the flint in. Well, this was leftovers. I keep these little bowls around, and sometimes I have a little of this and a little of that left over. You guys never do that, right? So then I think, oh, I'm going to be master blender, and I'm going to put a couple of different things in there, and then I'll smoke it. About 75% of the time, I end up dumping it out. Yeah, John, I have tremors, especially in my right hand from neck cervical failures, and so I have nerve damage in my hand. So I have at times the tremors are really bad, and so I can't be careful. So for me, the fix is I just put it under there where it can't come out. But I shake a little bit too much sometimes, and sometimes it'll happen all at once, like a spasm. So I keep them underneath there. Know thyself. The rich man, poor man's blend. I can't. I gotta. I gotta put this. I'm not gonna throw it away. I gotta put this in here. Yep, that happens. So now it's gonna be breezy. Yeah, I bought these this way. It sure makes a difference. I know you can use them either way. Uh, Boy, cold is making my nose drip. The you can use them either way. I know, but the pipe insert, it to me, I think it works really well. It allows that flame to draw straight down over the pipe, and I don't get as much flame on the rim of the bowl that way. I have several inserts that are the normal ones that because people will give them to me. Hey, I have an extra insert, but they're the regular kind, so I save them for emergencies. But I've given a couple of these away, like this, and um, when it's breezy up here, it's hard to keep most other lighters lighting well. They just if you've got a breeze going at all, They blow out so easy. Uh, and if you're I don't, I do use matches. Always keep matches for a backup plan. But oh my gosh, trying to get a match lit when there's a breeze outside, I don't need that kind of frustration. I use matches at the desk a lot of times. I think Eddie from the Pipe Nook last year or the year before, Eddie had some matches made. So he gave them away when you bought a pipe or when you bought a tobacco order. You would get a little box of his special made. Those were great. When somebody does a special job of making matches, like you were talking, Sutliff's done that. They work really great. But oh my gosh, if you've got a breeze going, they're they're a bear to they're a bear to get lit and get your pipe lit before it blows out. I think, like I said in that video, a lot of people have a complaint about the fuel smell, and one, spend a little time getting your wick just right, and so it doesn't overburn. But when you light it, let the flame burn for a second or so, because when they're closed up and in your pocket, they build up a little fuel in this enclosed area. And so light it, let it burn for a second, and then put it on your pipe, and you'll get less fuel smell out of it, guaranteed. And I do kind of like John did Matches 860. In one of his videos, he talked about he counts to six every morning. He puts enough fuel in it, just counts to six and quits. So it's not over full all the time. It's not giving you that big tall flame. I do get carried away and I fill it all the way up now and then. But I have tried to start just giving it that 5 or 6 count every day, and then I have enough fuel for a couple days or all day, so I don't ever run out. Yeah, I think I had no idea about carrying the spare flint, and I had a friend at work who was a really good friend of mine. He smoked cigarettes, and he pulled me aside one day when I think I was struggling with it, and my flint had quit, and I was going to go outside and have a pipe break, and he said, "Oh, your flint's out." And I go, "Yeah, and I don't. My flints are at home." So I was wanting to borrow his lighter, and he said, "Well, here, let's just fix it." And he had a flint in his desk, and he goes, "Here's another one. Put it down here." And he actually stopped and showed me. Put it down here, stick it underneath there. You'll always have one. So I always keep an extra flint underneath there. Yep. Let it burn a few seconds, just a couple of seconds. Let it burn just a little bit of that extra fuel off. Light your pipe. You'll love it. You'll never go back to the other lighters again because it'll light every time. Yeah, Yusuf, I don't mind matches. I kind of like the way they look when they're lighting, and I let the matches are the same way. You got to light a match and let that sulfur or whatever they're coated in now. You got to let that burn off, and then light. So many people, they'll light the match and stick it right down to the to the bowl, and then you're sucking in all that igniter stuff that's on there. But we have so many breezy days here in the north that they're not practical outside. You really have to try to find a place out of the way to use them. I've been over to Yellowstone. Yellowstone's not too far from us, uh, but I haven't been there all that much. I think if we had lived here when the kids were little, we definitely would have spent some time there. I keep saying I want to make a trip over, and there's a highway that goes through Yellowstone and comes back towards where we live, and I want to make that loop, make, but every time we think about doing it, we have something else going on. But we have so much here to see. I mean, I live near one of the lakes, one of the big lakes here, and you guys have probably seen me at the beach a couple of times down here. So this lake that we live near here is 33 miles long. And so there's so much to do and see here close by that I haven't made it to Yosemite, and I will. Not Yosemite, Yellowstone. We used to live near Yosemite too, and I never went there. In 50 years of living there, I never went there because it's very touristy, and I don't like being around big crowds of people like that. We went to the mountains and I seen stuff that was just as beautiful. It just wasn't full of people. So that's my preference. And a lot of times we have some little lakes up here. That's just glorious. Take your fishing pole and sit out on the dock and quiet, nobody around, light up a pipe. Yeah, I don't care for the crowds, the touristy crowds especially, because they're oohing and awing over stuff like they've never seen it. Well, my dad used to tell me, "Act like you've been there, boy." When we'd win a game, and we win a big game or something in sports, or do something where people were really praising you, act like you've been there before. I have not, Mike. I have not. I have all kinds of pipes. I have a mirror, several cobs. I have 3 or 4 cobs at least. The rest of my pipes are briar. Yeah, Glacier Glacier National Park is the one I want to get to. A little less people and a lot of grand beauty, and that's the one that we're trying to get a little trip so we can drive up through there. We were going to take that Highway of the Sun. Man, it's had some bad road failures of late. So last year was kind of out of the question. I don't know if they're getting traffic through there wasn't very good, but we will. Now taking a train through it, that would be awesome. To use the word I don't like to use very often, but it would be that would be the real meaning of the word awesome. A train ride. I love train rides, so that way you don't have to pay attention to the driving part. You can just enjoy the scenery. That would be great. My mom and dad went to Alaska years and years ago, and Gray Line, I guess Gray Line had cruise ships. They got buses, Gray Line, all that, but they had, I think it was Gray Line. They rode up and they took a train ride. I think it was like a week long, and they went all the way up through the Yukon and into Alaska. And my dad loved that trip. That was a good one. See you later, Mike. Good to have you here. Yeah, we're going to wind this up in a little bit because we've been on for an hour, and I got tons of stuff to do today. So, yeah, if I do go to those parks, I try to go to the part of the parks that are less busy. They are not congested. Thanks for dropping in, Mike. I really appreciate it. It's good to see you. Fun to have some people around, have a conversation. Maybe it's time we wind this thing down a little bit. Millennial, that's my thoughts exactly. I got up and got the wife off to work, and now it's time for me to get to work. I've taken my I've taken all my daily breaks all at one time here. So I'm gonna have to get with it. Or she'll come home and say, "Did you sit in front of the camera all day?" Yeah. The best time around here to go down to the beach or to go up in the mountains and stuff is when all the tourists go home. When it starts getting cold, they all hit the road, and that's when I love it. Everything slows down a little bit, and most of the crowds are gone. You too, John. Bless you. Yusuf, you have a great evening, my friend. Have a great evening. Tell the wife hello, and thanks for loaning you to us for a little bit. Absolutely. Well, I think we'll wind down with that, and unless somebody else has got a question they want to ask somebody while we're on here live, and then we'll. There you go. We'll take a couple minutes and let you ask a question if you need to, and then I'm going to get on out of here too. I'm almost out of coffee, so that means video time is over. Nathan, uh, One Mound was asking you for advice about going into Crosby. Got any advice? Before you hit the button? One thing about it, maybe you can send him a message. You know who to to ask there. Ask him, and maybe you can send him a message if he's already gone. Well, this rich man poor man's blend here wasn't all that bad. I feared it would be a lot worse. So I love those old farms like that. Great places to stop. Things that the tourist will miss. That's where we try to take people when they come here to see us. We try to take them to the touristy spots so they can say they've been there, but then we try to take them somewhere that you wouldn't normally know about. Just see the local stuff, the history of it. But with that said, we're going to check on out of here and get to something productive. So thanks everybody for stopping in. I appreciate it. We had a good chat. It's always easy when a few people drop in and we get to going and gabbing, and I don't have to plan these lives. They just take care of themselves. So you guys make today the best day you can. Make it the best one yet. Oh my goodness. I don't know how a mosquito can get out of this weather, but we'll see you all again real soon. God bless you all. Take care and be careful. Have fun. See you soon. All right. Bye bye. Boop, 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 boop.